On the next episode of the Everyday Greatness podcast, we had the one and only Paul McStay come and tell his story, the transition from footballer and legendary Celtic player to a father, a man living out his legacy.
Paul McStay in his first Old Firm.
But also, I think from a professional sport perspective, success is sustaining a professional career for a long period of time as well. You know, obviously injuries and different things can happen along the way, so you need your luck. But I think having that mindset and desire again, and it's been mentioned previously, that a desire comes from within. I think success is, like myself and others who work through the professional career, sustaining that for a long period of time. I was involved for 16 years. To me, that success staying in top of your game.
Oh yes! Sheer brilliance from young Paul McStay.
Every day, we're here for you. We get things off the ground, keeping you connected. We're here keeping you safe and secure. We keep things running smoothly and know the importance of giving back. Every day, we're here. ARA, here for you, here for good.
I want to speak to my next guest. I want to talk to the Maestro, the former captain of Celtic FC and the Scottish national team, Paul McStay. Paul is one of the most respected professional athletes of his time. But he's respected not just for his talent, but for his leadership off the field and his character. Leading at the highest level of sport brings intense pressure, visibility, expectation. Paul's career and life offers a powerful example of how values, discipline, and humility can define leadership on and off the field. And it's my absolute honour and it's a very rare treat to have Paul McStay join me on Everyday Greatness. Oh, Paul, thank you. This is very humbling. Did you ever feel a burning tension to win every game when you're playing at Celtic and for your country? A tension between a desire to win every game and also to be a good human being. Did you feel like you couldn't do them both together? Did you have to choose one or the other?
I think once you cross that white line onto the pitch, that desire is just to win the game, to perform to your highest level. And did it compromise my values? Sometimes, when you had to kick an opponent or somewhere. So, but that's part of the game. It's a very physical game, and you got to be prepared to get amongst things and put yourself about and take a bit of punishment, but also give it out. So, I mean, from value point of view, and I think being involved in elite sport at that level, sometimes the things happen on the pitch that you'd rather not happen. But in principle, you know, it feels the most important thing is that you respect your opponent. I think that's the most important thing. They come through the same journey as you, worked as hard as you. So though you're in that arena in the Coliseum, putting your looks against them, your technical ability, your physical presence as well, I think the desire to win is foremost in my mind when you win the pitch, but never forgetting to respect your opponent as well.
Very good advice. Now, you've done some pretty massive things in the world of sport. How do you define success beyond trophies and plaques? How do you define success in everyday life?
I think from a football perspective, winning trophies and awards is always nice. But I think the thing that is most important is giving your all when you go on the park. And to me, success is coming off the field, knowing that you've given everything, physically, but also from the performance point of view as well. So to me, that is success if you can do that in as many matches as you can. It doesn't always work out for you. But also, I think from a professional sport perspective, success is sustaining a professional career for a long period of time as well. You know, obviously injuries and different things can happen along the way, so you need your luck. But I think having that mindset and desire again, and it's been mentioned previously, that a desire comes from within. And I think success is, like myself and others who work through the professional career, sustaining that for a long period of time. I was involved for 16 years. to me, that success staying in top of your game for that.
So what lessons did playing football teach you that you still maintain in today's everyday life in either winning or being a good human being and respecting opponents?
Yeah, I think the thing that I took from sport, and I think I had it at a very early age, was that determination and desire. And I think it's no matter what career you're in or something what you do in life. Again, I say that it's got to come from within. If you know where you want to be, and sometimes you need help as a youngster, needing school, that guidance to help you move along the pathway that's right for you. And so to me, the most important thing is that desire and mindset to go and achieve. So I think that's what I took from sport, and I think that can be applied into everyday life.
Very good lessons. I want to give a shout out to Alistair McClymont. Alistair is a really good Australian bloke who's showing that with age comes wisdom, humanity, and above all else, flat out dollar value. Alistair has 20 plus years in recruitment and business development, but in an increasingly tough recruitment world, Alistair had to leave recruitment. He didn't sit idly by and complain about his work situation. Alistair rolled his sleeves up, went and picked up a job at the Sanitarium Hospital, where he serves food to patients. It's a fairly big step under where he was in recruitment, but he's helping deliver meals to patients and helping his family pay the bills. There's plenty of business people around who are too proud, who would be too proud to drop down from earning a big dollar to working at a hospital serving meals. But Alistair actually loves it, and he's well known around the hospital for stopping and having a chat to the patients. He's kind of a popular bloke there. So I just want to give a shout out to Alistair McClymont, a good bloke who's doing good things and setting a cracking example in the world. Love your work, Alistair. Now let's get back to it, Paul. How did discipline, sacrifice, and teamwork in sport shape the way you approach relationships and family life?
I think maybe it started in family life, actually. My parents gave us a sort of the values, the guidelines, good foundations to move forward in life. And I think in sport, you do pick up things along the way, like that team ethic, work together. And I think that's very much like your family, isn't it? If you work together, things will happen. And like in a dressing room, there's always going to be some fights and arguments and different things like that. Again, reflective in family life as well. That I think the key thing for me is you can be successful, but it takes that togetherness and working together as a team on the park. I think it was mentioned earlier that you don't have to like everyone in the dressing room, but you've got to respect them. But I'm lucky that through my years at Celtic, there's so many good people there, helpful, and help guide me through my career as well. But again, I think in family life, been lucky that way as well. Really good people in my family, the family friends who've helped and shaped me as well when I was younger. And hopefully, as a family just now, we can do the same things, work together. But I think the key thing is working as a team, either on the park, as a family, and things will work out better, definitely.
Beautiful answer. Now, my next question might be more appropriate for your family who are here today, to ask you anyway. Did you find it difficult switching off from the white line fever, wanting to win football games, to be fully present at home with your family?
Yeah, it was very difficult. I mean, my wife Anne-Marie had to suffer quite a few times when things did go well on the pitch. I would be probably come home in not a too good a mood, but I think she was a great support through that period of my career. And then the most important thing happened in her life. After we got married, we had the first child, Siobhan, came along, and then Melissa, Christopher, Caitlin, Stephanie, Michael. So life was full of joy, I would say, and great experiences. But Anne-Marie was basically, she was the boss and a great support to me in my career, and she kept the family together and just an amazing person. So she made it. I think the hardest bit was actually when I retired early at 32. I had plans for another 3 years, but injury, I had to call it because of injury. And I must say that the transition from a high-profile, energetic, professional career to basically go just do nothing for a few months was very difficult. And it was Anne-Marie who basically snapped out of, and no, you've got a long life ahead of you. You've got a young family. But I must say that the transition part from professional to the civic street, you want to put it that way, is pretty difficult. And in my time in Australia, I've heard a lot of stories, though, from very well-known swimmers, Olympic swimmers, people involved in NRL, AFL, and they find it difficult because we always transition from that profile to high energy, training every day, to basically just getting on with normal lives. So I thank Andy, all the family, for helping me through that transition.
I can see your family at the corner of my eye when you're talking about them.
Shaking a head, yeah.
You should have said the size of your girls' heads when you mentioned my name. Holy moly, the hell chuffed. Speaking of family, you've got a fairly big family legacy at Celtic. Can you explain who's played there, who's done what at Celtic?
I can try and do that, yeah. So my great uncles, Will and Jimmy, they played with Celtic in the 20s, and then Jimmy became Celtic manager after a while. So in the early days of the club history, the McStay family was pretty well known from a playing perspective and also from managing the club as well. And then through time, my older brother Willie, he was signed as a young, like an S-form they called it, like an academy player. And then I followed on from Willie, and my younger brother Raymond as well, signed with Celtic. So there's three, my mum and dad did, the three boys signed with Celtic at the same time. And my dad, John, the legend, God bless him, I love to have listened to me now, but he was a scout at Celtic, basically involved in recruitment for over 20 years. And I did quite a lot of good young players who went for many millions later on. And along with that, I've got my cousin John, his two girls played in the women's team. So that's just in recent times as well. And my nephew, John, is high up in the academy coaching. And my brother Willie has been involved in Celtic for many years as well. So he's part of the academy recruitment as well. So that's just probably missing one or two out. But the McStays have a long connection with Celtic. And I mean, I think it was 7, maybe just before that. That's when my dad started taking us to the games to watch Celtic. And then that's when you grow that love for the club and started going to all the games. And you always hope and pray that one day you'll end up playing for the club.
I played one game of AFL with each of my brothers for Penrith Demons.
No.
That story just puts that to shame. Can I ask you, what are your daughters doing that and back to Celtic?
Yep. I don't name the team that are playing for them now. They're called Snowballs, but they play summer football in Australia, and they're doing very well. So I'm very proud of them, and I go to watch them when they're playing, and the two boys play over here as well. So, no, and I think it's something that I found really exciting to become to Australia, and this, the women's football and the young girls playing football. In Scotland, when we left, it was visible, but nothing like here in Australia. And already bad to continue that sort of enthusiasm from the young ladies to get bowling again.
Are you guys going to go out to the Asian Cup and watch the Matildas?
Yeah, we went to the World Cup. That was a great experience. Matildas played here a couple of years ago, and that was fantastic. A full stadium at the NZ. So that was brilliant. Yeah,
beautiful. Now that's a family legacy to be really proud of, mate. That's an awesome to hear. Did it make it harder or easier for you as a player, though? Did you get more nervous about the expectation of being McStay and to be successful, or did it help you and motivate you to be a better player? That family legacy.
No, I think it was helpful. I think it made you understand what Celtic meant. And you grew up, my dad telling us the stories about the great uncles, and again, being involved, going to games at an early age. You always picked up, you went in the supporters bus over there. So you're mixing with maybe 40, 50 people on a bus going to games, so you learned about the club. And I think that did inspire me, and then I went to watch my hero, a guy called Kenny Dalglish, a very famous Scottish player, played with Liverpool after he left Celtic. So that again, going to the games week in, week out, you watch your hero, and you just want to try to get the same field as him one day. Not the same time, but just to go and play for the club. And that, I think the McStay name certainly helped inspire me. But I think once you get to involved with the first team. I think it motivates you as a fans, as supporters. I think that's why you're there, and that's where the real responsibility is, though, to as a professional, to turn up week in, week out, look after yourself, but to go and entertain the supporters, and also to hopefully give them success as well.
Now, you're a very humble man, so you may not say anything about this, but you were pretty bloody good as a player. Do you find there's a bit of pressure on you now to uphold reputations for Celtic and the family legacy? Do you feel a responsibility on your shoulders to act accordingly to them?
No, I think it's just a natural thing. It's a Celtic Football Club is a club that I've always supported, and I was back last year involved with the club, and the reception I got from people within the club, but the supporters was great, and I think that's very, very nice when you go back and they still remember you fondly. Even the youngsters who never seen you playing, with maybe stories are passed down through the generations, and I can say the generations that I'm that old, if the youngsters recognise your name, maybe not recognise the old guy with grey hair and the big belt, but they certainly recognise the name, and that's due to maybe the job you did quite well when you were playing, and those, their grandparents, their parents have passed that down to them.
Now, being pretty bloody good, did your mental health ever get tested when you're playing with that expectation to be as good as you were, and the family legacy? Was it ever tested? Did you ever find any dents in your armour?
I think it's always tested. I think as a young football player, I remember in sport, the biggest thing is to master in football, you master the ball. It's that technical ability. And I think once you make it through like the academy, and speaking from experience, you get to the first team, you're there because your technical ability is at a decent level. And the things you've got to work on from there on in is the physical attributes, and make sure you're fit, looking after yourself, going to the gym, working hard and training. But the biggest thing I think in professional football that I felt was the mental side. It was sustaining that level of performance over a long period of time. And I think especially when things didn't go well, and I had one or two moments like that, and that's when you're tested as a human being, really. And that's when the mental thing comes in. And I had one, probably the worst experience in my football career, is Celtic were going through a really bad time, and the club almost went bust. It was almost liquidated. That was 1994. So we hadn't won trophies for 2 or 3 years, and we got the cup final, and we were expected to win it because we're playing the team in a lower league, and things are going so well. And I could just picture myself with the cup as captain at the end of the game, and there was 2-1, and it was race forwards. Equalised late on in extra time, so they go to penalties, and you truly had to go and keep bang on the penalty, and the goalkeeper saved it. So they lost the cup, hadn't won the cup for a few years, and the club had just beat liquidation, and they were going to have a share issue the following week. So the club had arranged it so we win the cup, we had share issue because all the fans are on a high and then buy the shares. And I was tested at a personal level. The great thing in that time, I had a lot of good people around about, it was family, friends who were there to support. But again, it comes from within. If you've not got it within and rise to that challenge, I would have been finished basically. The media was on top of us, a few fans were on top of us. It was the following Wednesday, we played another game, and I was panicking. You know, about mental health, I know, just like at my boss said. But I walked onto the pitch, and the Celtic fans who were there that night had a sign up saying, "Don't never walk a one paw." So that was a little thing that motivated me, and I knew I had everything myself, but without that support round about as well, I might have failed. 6 months later, I left the Scottish Cup. So basically, within 6 months, I think it changed the mindset. I got better over that period, and we won the cup. So to me, mental health and is very important. And even in the early days when I started, mental health wasn't really mentioned. I mean, in the early days, you just knew you had to be mentally in tune. And that was all left yourself. There was no sports psychologist back then. It was really down to yourself and your coach who maybe kick you up the backside now and again to motivate you. But I think mental health is so important now in life, to speaking about it, but also within a sports environment as well, to make sure that you're physically and mentally capable of handling what is in front of you.
Firstly, thank you for sharing that story. I know you were a bit uncertain about coming on in a public video setting, but that was raw, really raw and powerful, so thank you for sharing it. Secondly, most people when they get a bit older understand the importance of emotional balance in their life. Mike talked about it earlier, that it makes you a whole human being. How do you get that message through to young people that just want to win a game of football? How do you get that message through to young people that don't care about emotional well-being? They just want to win the game. How do you get across?
It's difficult. I think that comes through education, And I think the internet and social media is a very powerful thing now. And I think that's one way of getting that message across about the emotional side. Winning the game is important. Doing it in the right way is important as well. But I think there's a lot of good people round about, and I'm sitting with two wonderful people here just now, and yourself, Barnaby, who can help, inspire, motivate, guide. And that's probably where I have let myself down. I used to go in the park, and people say it's too quiet in the park. I went about my business in the right way, and I would communicate and have to be. If I wasn't a shouter, hoik all the time, I'd had to go on these things. And in life, I think I've helped young players do a bit of mentorship and do it quietly. But I think, again, being here today, there's inspirational people who have maybe said to me, maybe I've got something to share and share it a bit louder than what I do.
I spoke earlier in the day of this event about people maybe not understanding the impact they're having on other people with the stories they share. Some of the stories you just shared, mate, have just blown me away. I'm inspired to hear your stories, about professional football and the glory of lifting premiership cups as a captain, but just be a good human being and just getting things done. I'm inspired that you were here, mate. I really thank you for your willingness to come on and trust me with your story. So thank you, Paul, for joining me.
Thank you.
Every day, we're here for you. We get things off the ground, keeping you connected. We're here keeping you safe and secure. We keep things running smoothly and know the importance of giving back. Every day, we're here. ARA, here for you, here for good.